Before we start, we want to make it clear that the information presented in this video is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as a financial advice. Investing in the financial markets involves risk, and it is important to conduct your own research and seek the advice of a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. We don't aim to defame any company or portray any company superior over other. The content presented in this video is based on publicly available information and is subject to change without notice. We do not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any information presented in this video. Any investment decision you make are your own, and we are not responsible for any losses or damages that may result from your investment decisions. The content in this video is not a recommendation to buy or sell any securities, and we are not endorsing any specific investment product or services.
Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about the Havells story, how Qimat Gupta, who is known as QRG, managed to take his company from market cap of 42 crores to 10,000 crores. Now let's see how the Havells stock price has performed since 2001. As we can see that the stock price has gone up, which shows that the company has performed really well. Now let's talk about QRG, who is the man behind the success of the company called Havells. Qimat Gupta was born in 1937 in Punjab. In 1958, he quit his studies in Punjab and moved to New Delhi, where he started an electrical trading shop called Gupta Ji and Company. He was not trained as an engineer, but was a master in human engineering. He had an MBA degree, but knew what it took for a business to succeed. He was very calm, collected, and he had all the luxuries, but yet he chose to chose to live a simple life. Shows how humble and grounded he was. An interesting fact is that family members did not receive any special treatment under his reign. They were treated like any other employee. If any mistake was committed by them, he would punish them without any hesitation. QRG battled many diseases throughout his life, like arthritis, lung disease, kidney impairment, and fractured spine. Yet he was determined, and his passion did not stop him from building a multinational company. This shows how a big fighter he was. The foundation of Havells was built on strong moral values and new ideas generated by any individual which would help in the development of the company were always welcomed by QRG. He was a visionary as he created a new category from premium fans. He was told by everyone that his move would fail as fan were an unorganized commodity market where people would buy low priced fan, but he was stern and refused to be a follower and run down a herd mentality. He introduced a new premium segment, and his strategy worked and became the market leader in the premium category. In order to outplay the competitors and create brand equity, he built he believed that a product should be a superior quality, prices should be competitive, and brand promotion should be done on a mass level. QRG was great when it came to taking care of people related to Havells, and one such example is Rakesh Mehrotra. He was a dealer of Havells, and QRG treated him like a family member. As he attended Mehrotra's daughter's marriage, took care of Mehrotra's financial problems, and visited Mehrotra's house when his mother was ill. This shows being the CEO of the company, yet he took out his precious time for dealers. Now, let's understand the family tree of Havells. QRG and his family are from a village not far from Malarkota in Punjab. QRG's father was Lachman Das, who used to do odd jobs for a living, and then he started his business. Lachman Das brothers Om Prakash Gupta, who is also known as OP Gupta, took the responsibility to get his family out of hard times and moved out from Punjab. After a lot of struggle, OP Gupta started his trading company for iron and steel called OP Gupta and Brothers with Lachman Das and Gandaram as partners. He later decided to take an exit from iron and steel business and enter into electrical products and housed a business under a company he set up in 1952 called OP Gupta and Company. QRG had six siblings. QRG excelled in studies and his dreams were not confined within Punjab. Later, QRG got married to Vinod, his wife, and had three children named Ajesh Gupta, Anil Gupta, who is the narrator of the biography, and elder sister Geeta Gupta. Now let's understand the journey of the QRG. Lachman Das, QRG's father, was debt ridden. Therefore, to repay, he started QRG started working at his in-laws' kerosene company. Earning a salary of 2000 rupees per month was enough to repay the debt. Therefore, QRG decided to drop his studies and was assigned the responsibility of a small kerosene shop, which was a loss making business. QRG learned networking skills, relationship building skills from Dal Carnage and Hill's book, and used his learnings to build good relationship with landlords to make them his regular customers. Therefore, he managed to turn the failing business around with his knowledge and skill. Later on, PC Gupta, QRG's uncle, relocated to Delhi to start his own enterprise in Bhagirath Palace. Seeing this QRG's business skills, PC Gupta offered him a partnership in his firm for rupees 10,000. QRG grabbed this opportunity and brought his family to Delhi in a small rented house. QRG's Gupta and Company had earnings of about 10,000 per month, with margins of about 15 to 20%. Though in those days, traders in Bhagirath Palace earned based on quota system, fixed by manufacturers who supplied traders quantities based on previous sales, and traders marked up the prices to earn profits. Guptaji and Company dealt in cable manufactured by Nico Cables and Indian Cables. They were wholesalers due to lack of financial clout or customer base. They were middlemen with the distribution chain. They procured from wholesalers and sold to retailers. QRG saw the potential that lied in the big cities like Bombay and wanted to expand, but he did not receive any support from PC Gupta. So QRG confronted PC Gupta and decided to go on separate paths. OP Gupta suggested that one of the partners should get cash for his 50% stake and other partner should get full ownership of the business. They decided that QRG will pay 45,000 rupees to PC Gupta to buy his stake and become sole owner of Guptaji and Company. Now let's understand about the chapter Calcutta Connection. Guptaji and Company was a dealer for Fort Gloucester Industries, who were the richest family in Bengal. A few years later, Modinagar was huge success for QRG as he was able to convince them to buy cables from them instead of Siemens and QRG. And QRG bagged an order worth of 2 lakhs. After this, Fort Gloucester made QRG as sole agent of dealer for the whole of North India. They also became the North Indian distributors of switchgears by Bentex. 1960s and 70s was a difficult era for business as businesses were using illegal practices to make profits. But QRG was a man of strong value. He did not indulge himself into these practices. His moral, ethical, philosophical, spiritual, and practical foundation later helped him build Havells into a 3 billion empire. Whenever QRG saw an opportunity, he used to immediately grab it as he did by buying his adjacent shop for rupees 45,000 as soon as it was up for sale. We also noted that QRG managed to convince Delhi Electricity Supply Undertaking to let Fort Gloucester manufacture their cables, and over a time, Guptaji and Company became agent for other companies like Culter Hammer and English Electrical. Now, let's understand about the story of buying Havells. In 1956, Havells was originally launched and its owner, Haveli Ram, was a trader who imported several electrical products and sold them into the market. These products were foreign made. In 1963, due to reforms in trade policies by cuts in import quotas were announced. Therefore, it was now difficult for Haveli Ram to run import-based business. Haveli Ram was left with three options: either to scale down the business or shut it down, source products locally, third, manufacture them in-house under the name of Havells. He chose the third option and set up a factory in Faridabad. All was going well for Haveli Ram. These were his prosperous years, And then suddenly it all came to an end when Haveli Ram's wife died and his son couldn't manage the business. Thereafter and eventually Haveli Ram committed suicide. QRG proved his loyalty towards Fort Gloucester by declining offer by Inder Mata, who wanted him to be Asian Cables dealer. Inder Mata joined Havells in 1969, but Havells was struggling because it failed to get huge order it expected, and QRG was not able to sell their products, and he demanded his money back. But that just worsened the situation, and one day Inder Mata offered him to buy Havells and settle the account. QRG was attracted due to high profit margins, so he tried to accumulate money and bought Havells for 7 lakh rupees. Due to his naivety towards buying business, QRG gave Haveli Ram an alternative and said that he will buy the goodwill and Haveli Ram should sell the plant and machinery separately. This is how Havells was acquired by QRG. Now, I would like to call my associate Priyanshu Agarwal for further explanation.
Now let us see how Havells began their operations. In 1971, QRG bought Havells and he gifted 27% stake to Surjit ji, his brother-in-law, and Surinder ji, his younger brother. He set up Havells shop in Bhagirath Palace, where Surinder ji and Surjit ji, along with others, helped him run the business. In 1976, QRG set up Havells' first factory in Kirtinagar and started assembling switchgears. The cost of machinery was around 1 to 2 lakhs and the monthly rent was around 8,000 rupees. The move during 1970 was against traders and was favoring manufacturers. Over the advice of VP Mahindra, QRG started appointing professionals from big companies and preferred to keep family members out of operations. He had to offer many incentives and a clear roadmap to attract these employees. Now, Premier Groups owned Towers and Transformers, a Sikh company, was up for sale, and the main thing that attracted QRG towards Towers and Transformers was its 10 acres of land near Delhi. He bought the company for rupees 35 lakhs. They funded this acquisition through loans. This was a very bold move by QRG as he didn't really have any clear plan for the company. But later, he used the land for manufacturing of electric meters. Now, the turnaround in selling of products in Havells happened like this. First, they started sourcing switch gears from Kenbar and Company and also began to assemble it in small quantities at home. Then the Havells was blacklisted by certain government departments. This hampered their business sales. And also dealers were reluctant to keep Havells stock in their warehouse. After some time, they set up 3 factories in total for switch gears and electric meters. Once manufacturing was controlled, QRG and his engineers focused on quality improvement of their products. Now, the master stroke was QRG invited 200 people for a dinner at Taj. This gave everyone the opportunity to clear their doubts regarding Havells and helped Havells to get their name off the blacklist. Let's see how QRG formed Havells' distribution channel. Ever since Havells entered manufacturing in 1970, QRG maintained that one of his priority was to target the trade and establish comfortable, almost friendly relation with his distributors and dealers. Dealers are a part of your overall supply chain. Without an inadequate manufacturing base, it is difficult to feed a large army of dealers. His foremost logic was that if the dealers were happy with you, they would aggressively push your products in the marketplace. The difference between success and failure was the difference in aggression, passion, interest, and the trade showed in a brand. As mentioned earlier, he used to build family-like relation with dealers. For example, Rakesh Mehrotra was his dealer. As he himself was a dealer for Ford Gloucester Industries, he knew how to treat other dealers and make them feel important and special. A work culture was created where manager and division head also needs to think about the implication of divisions decisions on the trade to replicate the emotional connections that QRG had with his dealers. Things carried out by QRG to make dealers feel special are treat his dealers in fancy places to keep them happy. Second, let dealers have a say in decision making to give them a sense of importance. Third, used to take updates from traders to get important information and insights about the prevailing market conditions. Fourth, being part of their family celebrations. Now let us see what happened to Havells after change in economic outlook of India. In 1980s, India's economic outlook began to change by introducing pro-reform measures such as reducing interest rates for corporations, encouraging NRI investments, rationalizing taxes, and promoting savings. During this period, QRG recognized the opportunity to acquire technology through international partnerships. He appointed his son Ajesh to identify potential partners and initiated collaborations with overseas companies like Gear of Germany for miniature circuit breakers, also known as MCBs, Peter Reins for changeover switches, and Scheil for reduced current circuit breakers, also known as RCCBs. These collaborations played a vital role in Havells' growth. Now, Rajesh Gupta said that the main function of finance department is to provide support to the marketing and production department and guide them to have slow and steady progress. Mismanagement of cash can be a major reason for a company's demise. But that was not a problem with Havells, as he believed in their CFO and their involvement in the decision making. They also faced financial problems that were common to a young company. Such issues can arise from three factors: transition related problems, relationship with lenders, and tension linked to payments with suppliers and buyers. Investment of any form in higher production or new products influences cash management processes. In manufacturing, due to an increase in number of suppliers, payments become a major issue. Manufacturing business is rooted in external finance, mostly from lenders, as every company needs financing to improve its cash flows despite having an option of raising funds through equity. Havells mainly depended on debt financing before its public offering. Back then, banks were hesitant to give loans to small medium enterprises due to inherent risk, so QRG tried its best that none of the crises affect banks and vendors to have a healthy relationship with them. Suppliers were skeptical about the acquisition of towers and transformers and thought of avoiding Havells. But QRG gave them two options. First, they can take immediate payments with number of unit of future relationship, and second, they could wait for the payment cycle and continue the relationship. This helped in maintaining the supplier's trust in Havells. After the failure of the first factory, QRG took out a loan of 12 lakhs to set up another factory. Havells cater for its customers through innovation, product quality, reliability, diverse product range, and sales support. Its customer-centric approach ensures that its offering cater to various needs while maintaining a strong focus on safety, reliability, customer satisfaction. They also focused on brand building and building their brand equity by emphasizing on presentation and looks, both in products and overall brand image, contributed to its success in the market. Havells' commitment to transparency and honesty with its stakeholders, including vendors, bankers, and customers, earned the trust and credibility of the public. A separation that changed the prospects of Havells. A year after Anil's arrival, QRJ decided that Havells should go public. They bought a piece of land at Faridabad to make contractors use power control panels. They raised funds for this investment. Havells thought of taking a premium but were denied by merchant bankers, seeing the current stock market conditions. QRG explained to everyone the reason for charging a premium, and surprisingly, everyone agreed and wrote checks. In October 1993, they hit the market with their IPO at rupees 25 per share, and their issue was oversubscribed. But after getting listed, they couldn't perform well, which resulted in investors losing their confidence in the company. And also the fact that they were from Delhi contributed to investors' pessimism. This made QRG think about delisting, but Rajesh convinced him to stay listed because in the future it would be easier for them to raise funds, and they would also have to consistently perform well on quarter basis, and this makes promoter accountable to the shareholders. QRG believed in taking everyone's opinion before taking any decision, but Ajax liked to be independent and both the systems cannot coexist. In 1994, due to a conflict of interest between QRG and his son, Ajax demanded a separation, but OP Gupta convinced him to stay with his father. But when the second time conflict arises, it was out of control, and QRG agreed to give him a profitable company at Tilak Nagar. QRG's leadership style was characterized by his intuition, experience, and personal involvement, while his sons brought in a more structured and technical approach reflecting his engineering background. This transition in leadership style impacted the company's decision making process and growth style. Anil spent a lot of his initial days at Kirti Nagar factory from where he learned how to control inventory and improve productivity. In 1992, he joined the Havells board. He often said that sometimes on the path to success, one must sacrifice some beloved things. QRG doubted Anil's ability but was proven wrong when Anil delivered up to the mark, and he started working under the shadow of QRG. During the separation, he was suffering from dry eye syndrome. The story of Havells is one of transformation, growth, and resilience. Through personal and professional trials, the company and family perceived ultimately emerged stronger and united than ever before. Now let us see how Havells rebooted their business after change in leadership style. Impact of business due to departure of Ajesh Gupta had both personal and professional implications. It led to uncertainty and required a re-evaluation of the company's leadership structure, growth strategy, and internal dynamics. The loss of Ajesh, a key contributor to the company's growth, prompted a period of introspection and re-evaluation. But QRG and his younger son Anil took charge of steering the company through this challenging phase. QRG main focus was on aggressive growth targets and expanding Havells turnover significantly. The company was expanding into new areas and markets. Also, new ambitious goals were set by him and to achieve substantial growth despite the absence of Ajesh's leadership. They took advantage of real estate boom and strategically diversified its business by targeting specific customer segments. After certain discussions with the dealers, they decided to focus on two products: modular switches and modular case circuits. QRG saw the future potential of the modular switches, and since MK was an English company, he decided to look for a European partner for both modular switches and MCCBs. Fort Gloucester asked QRG to become their vendor in North India to supply cables, and they had to produce under their brand, not Havells. QRG agreed to it as they were expanding into switches, MCCBs, and meters at that time. But sometime later, Bangers walked out of the arrangement and Havells launched its own brand of cables, and they were successful. Havells Dorman Smith introduced two brands, Crabtree for modular switches and Dorman Smith for MCCBs. They changed the MCCB's brand to Havilland. They also bought the rights for Crabtree for the Indian subcontinent after they bought out Electrum's stake in 1999. The new meters branded Havells and DGZ were in the market. Let us talk about few acquisitions done by Havells. They also acquired electrical control and switchboard that made panels to house MCBs and MCCBs for 3 crores. But they soon had to shut it down due to low profit margins and long payment cycles. With the acquisition of Standard Electricals, their share in the MCB market rose to 16 to 18%, and they became the third largest player in the market. The meters business contributed 60% to the group's turnover. The meters business saw a huge replacement of electromechanical meters with electronic ones. Everyone rushed towards the market and prices crashed. This also led to a rise in kickbacks and commissions in the business. QRG's passion for business was on the top of the world. Despite being 63 years old, an age when many people consider retirement, he maintained a strong appetite for business and growth. His enthusiasm for business was undiminished even as he faced severe health problems. The acquisition of various companies, including electrical control and switchboard. However, this particular acquisition proved unprofitable and due to low technology and slim profit margins. But Havells was on to look out for a significant acquisition that would help it surpass its competitors. Standard Electricals, as a potential target due to its strong brand and presence in market in the switchgear market, was a perfect acquisition for Havells. QRG initiated discussions with J.K. Gupta, the owner of Standard Electricals, for a potential joint venture or acquisition. QRG and his team navigated negotiations, including determining the enterprise value of the company and structuring the deal. After the acquisition, challenges arose regarding the management control of the company, and miscommunication led to corporate battle and legal disputes between Havells and Standard Electrical's founders. QRG's approach to conflict resolution was rooted in personal relationships and negotiations rather than legal battles. He aimed for a peaceful settlement and worked to resolve the issues out of court. Now let us see why he exited the meters business. One had to have a strong political connections in the meters business. The World Bank was funding switch electrical meters. The orders were huge, which also caused an increase in kickbacks. And everyone was breaking the rules and giving kickbacks to get orders from state electricity boards. Due to the boom, new players entered the market and were selling at a loss to gain market share, which resulted in slimming of profit margins. QRG decided to wind down the meters business despite its success and changing market dynamics. Corruption and unethical practices in the sector led QRG to believe that the business was not aligned with Havells' values and expertise. Now, I would like to call my associate Darshan Garg to continue with the presentation.
The next part is nothing but the best. They wanted to leverage their distribution network to sell their products, and one option was fans. They found out the segment was heavily unorganized, had wafer thin margins, and also everyone in business is selling low quality fans. He wanted to make high quality fans, and due to their strong equity brand, they would easily be able to sell their product. He was advised by others to make low quality fans, but he was adamant on sticking to his words. QRG introduced metallic fans in the market, which are now called decorative fans. They were planning to enter into a new line of business, CFLs. They set up a team to understand the business and plan to set up a manufacturing plant. Sika was asked to locate a plant that could be shipped to India, and he found one plant in South Korea. QRG had faith in Sika and asked him to lock the deal. They had set up their CFL production line inside the Faridabad factory, and now Havells was also a light and fixtures company. Havells had a smooth cash flow due to its unique financial products. Only at the time when they entered wires and cables, they had a mismatch between expense and revenue. Suppliers demanded upfront payment and buyers demanded a credit period. The next part is now quality as a priority. QRC unwavering dedication to delivering high quality products to customers. He believed that quality should never be compromised, even if it meant higher cost initially. Investment in technology and research. Havells invested significantly in research and development, that is R&D, to improve the quality and features of its products. QRG understood the importance of staying at the forefront of technology advancements to meet customer expectations. Also, Havells had a significant innovation in the electrical appliances market. Havells aimed to create a fan that was not only efficient and durable but also aesthetically pleasing. Next part is challenges. QRG faced challenges in manufacturing the new fan, including technical difficulties and skepticism from engineers. However, QRG's determination and vision pushed the team to overcome these challenges. QRG hand on hand approach. QRG actively engaged in the development process of the new fan. He visited factories, interacted with engineers, and even personally designed the fence blades for optimal performance. The Havells fan launch. Despite initial doubts, the Havells fan was successfully launched. Its unique design, silent operation, and energy efficiency set it apart from competitors, leading to its popularity among customers, recognition, and growth. The success of the Havells fan established the company's reputation for innovation and quality. Havells' market presence and sales continued to grow, solidifying its position in the industry. QRG's vision for the future. QRG's commitment to excellence extended beyond product quality to corporate governance, employee welfare, and community development. His vision was to create a company that was not only profitable but also socially responsible. Next part is about the business. Most of the investments were funded through debt as they were not profitable till 2002 to 2003, but they were mindful of the ability to pay interest timely without causing hindrance in their cash flow. Their equity base was low as investors weren't intrigued by the strategic acquisitions and performance. Their stock didn't have much volume because they didn't communicate much with the investors. They started to meet fund managers and investment analysts as they know their share was undervalued. They found that everyone had a stereotypical view of business based out of Delhi. QRG was stunned by one of the analysts' question that analysts weren't interested in the company because they had high working capital debt and the cash generated didn't meet their expenses. They figured that they had reduced loans on the book. The sales invoice they issued were sold to the bank for cash and were backed by insurance. They could now use the cash to pay the suppliers in time. They became cash flow positive due to this step, and they were in the position to efficiently spend and keep suppliers happy. The insurance product and excited the dealers and distributors as they could offer an increased credit period to buyers. So now I would like to call my associate Jaivansh to explain further.
Smita, and I will talk to you about the acquisition of Sylvania. Sylvania was one of the most riskiest acquisition done by QRG. Now we will look why. During the 2000s, Indian companies were trying to have an international footprint through acquisition of international companies, and Havells was also trying to do the same. Now Havells looked for an opportunity to have an access to the international markets where there were numerous opportunities available, and so they could have an international footprint. And Sylvania was a perfect candidate for that. And why it was a perfect candidate? Because Sylvania had a very strong brand presence in Europe and America, and the company had a turnaround of 500 million euros, and it was available for a say available for 100 for 200 million. And QRG thought that it was a perfect time to acquire this company because they had a very strong brand equity, and they would also provide an international market access. Now QRG was a very visionary leadership. He saw things that the others didn't, and he saw the opportunities that others didn't. He was also suffering from poor health condition, but even in those times, he managed to he strongly rise above his illness and weaknesses and conduct business like no one else could. And he completed the acquisition of Sylvania in a very good way. Now, what were the challenges that he faced while the acquisition of Sylvania? Some of the challenges that he faced were competition from global giants. Now, Havells was a domestic company, and it was not really a global giant. And during the acquisition of Sylvania, QRG feared that they could get challenges from the global giant and competition from the global giant, like for global giant companies like Siemens and Schneider would beat them in the bid to buy Sylvania, and they could lose the opportunity which was right in front of them. And they also lacked the experience in the global market because they were domestic company. They didn't really have an idea about the global market operations and everything. There was also a very limited amount of information that was available in the about Sylvania, which made it very difficult for the Havells to conduct its due diligence before the acquisition. And they were also fearful that they might not have the required funds to acquire the company. But also the Dutch bank took the responsibility to underwrite the deal, but they were still fearful of the fact that they might not have that much fund. And due to which they wanted to negotiate a favorable deal for both Sylvania and Havells, which would be profitable for the company in the future as well. And also they didn't want to overpay for the deal because they were also running out of fund, and if they failed they failed to negotiate a favorable deal, or they overpaid for the deal, that would be very disastrous for Havells. And also they had to have the timing right for the deal, because the timing was the main game in this acquisition. As I mentioned earlier, they could face competition from the companies like Schneider and Siemens, which are a global giant, and they could easily outbid QRJ in the acquisition of Sylvania, and they could take the opportunity away from them. So they had to perfectly time the acquisition. And there was also some kind of resistance or reluctance faced by Havells during the acquisition of Sylvania from the Sylvania, but they still acquired the company. And now wait, there were still problems after the acquisition. After the acquisition of Sylvania, everything was just going down, because during the 2008 crisis, the companies were existing as a separate entity rather than a one entity, and there was a communication problem between the both. And as a result of which, the condition worsened for both of the companies, and due to which the Havells board has had to let go of the CEO of Sylvania, whose name was Griswold. This acquisition was turning out to be very wrong acquisition done by Havells, but and the dealers and the distributors of Havells were very skeptical about the acquisition of Sylvania. Havells acquired Sylvania for the brand equity it had, but it didn't really expect the conditions to be worsened just after the acquisition. But QRG had to do something about the acquisition, because he saw the opportunity that lied underneath. So let's now see what he did about the problematic situation that was arising out post acquisition of Sylvania. Now, Sylvania had credibility. It has very good products, but the problem was it had a very low margin. Now, due to which low margin, it was running into losses, which was not acceptable. And due to these losses, QRG decided to take the responsibility to restructure the company, and he took the responsibility, and that he had made a bad decision. Now he will turn around the failed acquisition into a successful one. So what he first did, he tried to convince the management of Sylvania to restructure the operation of the company, and he was successful in doing so. He also convinced some global bankers to convince the management of Sylvania to cooperate with the QRG for the turning around of the business. Havells used Sylvania, as I mentioned before, because of its strong brand equity that it had in Europe and America. Now, as measures that were taken by QRG were, he took some cost cutting measures like downsizing the workforce, removing any unwanted machinery, or reducing the available inventory which was of no use, etc. These were the cost cutting measures which are undertaken by the QRG uh, to reduce the losses and cut the cost of the Sylvania. Havells faced challenges in the lighting industry because of the financial problems with Sylvania, but it had to find some innovative solutions to cater to the problems and to come out of the problems. Now, Havells tried to focus on the margin rather than volume, and tried to deliver the customers with a very good quality product and at a premium price. Now, this crisis at Sylvania demanded a very creative solution by QRG, and he did the same. He planned and executed the plan in a two phases. The first phase was Operation Phoenix, and the second was Operation Parakrama. And after this planning and the execution, he turned around the acquisition into a successful one within 6 months. And this gained the confidence of investors. This shows how much of a bold, visionary, risky, and knowledgeable leader was QRJ. And now let's talk further. Now, during the economic crisis, Havells had to cut down its cost and to restructure its operations due to the economic crisis that were going on. And due to this cost cutting measures, it had to let go of some of the inventory, it had to let go of some of the unwanted machinery, etc. The economic turmoil of 2010 to 11 to 14 was very bad for companies all across the sectors, but Havel, due to its very effective crisis management, it had managed to remain comparatively well comparatively well in those situations. This shows how well was the management of Havells to remain even better than its competitors in the economic turmoil situations. Now, due to the economic turmoil, there was a slowdown in the product sales, which was affecting the value chains of Havells. And now Havells had to restructure its operation and to restructure its sales force and brand to reduce its expenses to manage to survive in those situations. Now, crisis of 2008 and 9 forced the company to restructure its operation and to prioritize financial resilience in those situations, and rather than focusing on volumes and etc. The company tried to implement cost-cutting measures to build its financial resilience. Now, due to the economic turmoil, there was a change in the consumer demand and purchasing patterns, and it was affecting the sales of each and every company. But Havells was one company which was very quick to adapt to the changing demand and purchasing patterns of the customers and to cater to the changing needs and demands of the customers timely. This shows the QR's leadership skills who turned the business to be successful even in the economic turmoil situations or any of the crisis. Now, the crisis of 2008 and 9 prepared the company to be at least survive and be comparatively well during those situations rather than just giving up. The company was very well prepared and versed with the economic crisis, and it would be very well performing in the future if some situation like this comes again. Now, my associate will take you further into the journey of Havells.
Let's see further. Let us now understand the brand evolution of Havells. Havells started as a B2B brand, selling to government departments and building contractors. Over the time, Havells transitioned to B2C brand targeting households. Havells initially sold industrial switchgears but later expanded into consumer goods like MCBs, fans, and lightings. The brand evolved from a B2B to B2C company. QRG, who was promoter of Havells, played a crucial role in guiding the brand's transformation. He believed in power of advertising and took bold decisions to increase the advertising budget substantially. The brand's target audience shifted from government departments and contractors to individual households. Initially, Havells had limited advertisement budgets, but QRG's vision led to a significant increase in ad spending. The company leveraged cricket events like IPL to reach a vast audience and improve brand visibility. The company focused on creating high quality brochures, pamphlet, and advertising material to project a premium image. It also emphasized safety and quality in its communication, especially through the shock laga and wires that don't catch fire marketing campaigns. Havells witnessed the emergence of foreign players like LG, Samsung in Indian consumer electronics market, which motivated the brand to invest more in advertising. The company realized that customers were influenced by engineers, electricians, and dealers in their buying decision. To change this dynamic, QRG invested heavily in advertising to reach consumers directly. Havells made a strategic decision to become a B2C brand company targeting households, and QRG's personal conviction and determination to increase advertising spending were instrumental in transforming Havells into a dominant player in electrical goods industry. Overall, Havells' journey showcases the importance of branding and advertising in building a successful B2C brand. And forever. This highlights several aspects related to company. Havells offers a diverse range of electrical products including fans, CFL lamps, LED switches, geysers. wires, and appliances. The company was founded by Qimat Gupta, who was careful about naming the company and later changed it to Havells to avoid confusion and enhance the branding image. The importance of brand image and standardization, how Havells revamped its logo to appeal to a younger and contemporary audience. The transformation of Havells brand through advertisement campaigns focusing on themes of fans or supporters and involving celebrities like Rajesh Khanna to create a strong brand association. Havells invested heavily in advertising with high budget TV ads that were well received and contributed to increasing brand awareness and recall. Havells managed its distribution system efficiently, providing support to branches, dealers, and establishing Galaxy stores to showcase its entire product range. The company faced competition from multinational corporations but managed to differentiate itself through effective branding and marketing strategies. Havells targeted different customer segments such as men for products like cables and wires, women for products like fans, switches, and home appliances. The company experienced growth and success, particularly during the second phase of the Indian economy where consumer spending increased. This provides insights into personality and characteristics of Rajesh Khanna, who featured in one of the Havells' successful advertising campaign. Overall, Havells' strategic branding, advertising, and customer-focused approach played a significant role in establishing its brand equity and success in electrical equipment market. Deal making from ICU. This gives an insightful narrative about the journey of QRG and the growth of Havells as a consumer electrical company. The narrative describes how Havells faced a critical situation when they acquired Sylvania, but managed to bring the company back on track. They then ventured into newer areas, including geysers and home appliances, emphasizing a premium positioning. However, the decision to enter the competitive air conditioning market was eventually abandoned due to tough competition and low margins. Their focus was on premium segment and leveraging their existing distribution network. QRG, the driving force behind Havells, is portrayed as determined and hands-on leader. Despite facing health issues, he refused to retire and remained actively involved in company. He became more assertive and focused on preserving the company's culture and legacy. QRG's passing left a significant void in the organization, and this responsibility of carrying forward his legacy fell on his son. The company aimed to play a premium space and took inspiration from successful brands like Vimal. Havells focused on meeting customer demands and preference in terms of product quality and features. They targeted the premium end market, offering innovative and superior products. The content illustrates the strategic decision making of Havells, including the careful evaluation of market opportunities and challenges. They were not afraid to exit the air conditioning measure when it posed significant risk. The narrative also portrays Kiwaji as a dynamic and inspirational leader, passionately shared his wisdom, knowledge with the team. His passing away marked the end of era, but the team remained committed to continuing his legacy and carrying the company forward. Then this narrates the story of Anil Rai Gupta, his son Abhinav, and their close relation with Qimat Rai Gupta, that is QRG, a successful first generation entrepreneur. Anil and his family were inspired by QRG's business acumen and values after changing their name to include Rai Gupta. As tribute to QRG, Anil took over the leadership of family business Havells. Hiwaji, being a daring and risk-taking entrepreneur, has concerns about passing the business to the second generation. Anil recognized that he might not be an exact replica of Qiwarji. Their shared business goals and philosophies allowed him to lead Havel successfully. Anil learned from Qiwarji's approach, emphasizing honesty, transparency, and staying close to dealer base in the market. Qiwaji wanted Havells to become an institution outlasting its founders, and Anil took it as his mission to achieve that. He realized the importance of transitioning from a family oriented business to more professionally managed one for long term growth. While some experts debate the role of family members in executive position, Anil followed Qiwaji's vision of putting professionals in key role to drive growth. By keeping a limited family presence on the board and embracing independent members, Anil aimed to ensure the continued success of Havells. In conclusion, Anil Rai Gupta's journey as a second generation entrepreneur highlights the challenges and lessons in taking over a family generate business with while pursuing his legacy and driving growth. He cherishes the teaching and values of QRG, who had a significant impact on his personal and professional life. In conclusion, this book teaches us valuable insights into the growth of Havells under the leadership of QRG, highlighting the challenges and successes faced by the company. It also demonstrates the importance of staying focused, preserving company's values, and making strategic decisions to ensure sustained growth and success in competitive business landscape. Thank you.